What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Darren Walker podcast, sponsored by BeICONIC Conversations. Let us know if you're watching live or the replay, or if you're listening to the recording, shoot me a DM on my Instagram at DWalkerInspires. Y'all, we have another iconic podcast tonight. And depending on where you are, you might be in Cali on the West Coast. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Darren Walker. I'm 39 years strong from the Bronx, New York. My entire family is Jamaican. I'm the baby born in the Bronx. I'm Jamaican, so a lot of mercy. I'm excited to be on this podcast tonight. We're streaming right now, live on Instagram, live on Facebook, and on YouTube. So we're streaming from a lot of places, and we are excited. I'll just give you a little backdrop, and we'll bring our special guest speaker on. I'm going to share a couple things I'm really passionate about helping people win. This is really one of my favorite times of year. We're ending the third quarter, 21 days. I'm going to bring up a calculator here in a little bit, but we're 21 days close to the end of the third quarter, 115 days right now close to the end of the year. And why this matters, if you're on here and you're a CEO, you're an entrepreneur, you're looking to build businesses, especially in the online space or just in general, we're really excited about helping people have the infrastructure, the systems, and the steps to do that on a high level. You know, I come from a place where no one in my family has done 6 and 7 figures in the online space or entrepreneurial space. I went to school, got good grades, got a good job. My mom worked with special needs kids in the Bronx, New York. My father, God rest his soul, worked on New York City bridges. Grateful for my family and the upbringing. Learned hard work, learned dedication, learned perseverance, but also didn't learn how to take my skill sets and turn them into something to live the dream life I wanted to live until March 3rd, 2012, when I got laid off. When that happened, I was introduced to actually a network marketing company that introduced me to entrepreneurship, mentorship, really actually my walk with Christ. Really grew there. I grew up in a Christian home, but really it was when the Lord grew me outside of that. And so we want to talk about principles here on the BeICONIC podcast, Conversations podcast, to help people truly grow, not just information, transformation. It really is about that. We want to help people no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, even if you're not building a business right now and you're just on here listening. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here. Share this to someone if you'd like as well. We want to have conversations to help people win. I'm going to bring up a special guest here in a little bit. Her name is Rae Irelan. She's out of California. She's an absolute icon, beautiful young woman with a family, doing her thing in the space. Just love her personality, a natural connector. So it's going to be really, really fun to bring her up. But I want to also kind of talk to you right now. Why? Because I really, as an entrepreneur, I've been running and the CEO of an online business. It started as a course. Now it's a mastermind. And that mastermind now has, we've coached and trained hundreds of people, help people earn income, find their purpose, launch different things, books, and all these different things. And one of the biggest things that I've seen is that people, especially in this time here, they mismanage their time. I was on a one-on-one call with we call them community icons, but a client just a couple of hours ago, and I was helping him, and he works a full-time job as a chef, and I was talking to him about how to take things to the next level. And I asked him, how far was his drive to work? Something small. He was like 25 minutes there and 25 minutes back. He works the shift from 3 to 11 p.m. And I asked him, I said, so what are you doing in the car while you're on the way to work? That's a simple question, right? What are you doing on the way to work? And he just was just like, I'm getting my mind ready for work. And I just listened to him. He's like, I'm either listening. He said some great things. He's like, Joyce Meyer or Les Brown or E.T. the hip hop preacher or Tony Robbins. Like, he's trying to get himself mentally prepared for work. And that's fine. But I had the conversation. I said, I asked him, do you understand how valuable your time is? Truly, have you sit back? Why? He said, well, because 25 minutes there and 25 minutes back, that's 50 minutes. And then I brought up the calculator. I'm like, if you work 5-6 days a week, I forgot exactly, but it ended up being 300 minutes a week. Well, there's three weeks left to the end of the third quarter. I'm like, that's 900 minutes that you could be working on your goals, your dreams, your business. But what you're actually doing is spending that time trying to get ready for the place that you're already giving up to 48 hours a week that only pays you when you're there and when you're not. I got him to see that, in my opinion, that was a mismanagement of his time. So I want to ask you, how well are you managing your time? How well, literally, and this is not like, like I want you to really think about this with me. How well are you managing the time that you have? Are you being a great steward of the time that you have? And I didn't do this with him because we ran out of time. I wanted to talk to him about time first. But it's not just managing your time. It's like, what are the goals that you have? And I'm not just talking about, hey, let's lose some weight. Like, no. Do you have goals and dreams that you would like to be achieved from right now through the end of the third quarter and from right now through the end of the year? Something that maybe that really could compel you to change the game for you, to help you change your life and take things to the next level. Do you have something? What do you have that would help you do that? So let's look at this calculator together real quick. And if you're on here, we can take a screenshot together if you want to do that. So from right now, okay, if you're with me, from right now to the end of the third quarter, this is simple. There's 0.7 months. There's 3 weeks, 21 days. There's 504 hours. There's 30,240 minutes. There's 1,814,400 seconds. And if you were on the podcast we just did recently, yes, I showed the calculator. I'm going to continue to show it every time we do it because I want people to understand time. This is something that I look at all the time, not just because I love numbers. What I do is I love knowing where I am, knowing where I want to go. How much time do I have towards my goal? Why? Because now I can say, if I'm in that car, I'm in the shower, I carve out time during the day, I can specifically spend time focusing on what it is I want to do to take my life to the next level. And matter of fact, we have an event coming up October 6th and 7th, okay? It's an event that's going to teach people how to turn their iconic, unique story into 6 and 7 figures. And I'm bringing that up because we are going to be teaching people in this event coming up, myself and some special guest speakers. We're going to be teaching people how to win. And tonight, you're going to be able to have access to that. And we're going to speak about how to help you take your life to the next level on this event. It's a free event. We just ask that you be serious. You show up, come ready to learn. It's a Monday and a Tuesday. We have a system and a process to not only help you recognize your time, but help you give practical step-by-step management on how you can take things to the next level. All right. So if you're here in your chat and you're ready to literally take your story, take your time, and take it to the next level, put ready in the chat. Wherever, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, if you're watching the replay, put ready in the chat so we can help you take things to the next level. We have an opportunity right now to win. I'm so excited, and I am absolutely fired up to be bringing BeICONIC Conversations here to you. And as we bring this event, we also are going to be bringing up here in just a moment our special guest speaker. So y'all do us a favor. Before I bring her on, I'm just going to love on her for a second. But Rae Irelan is spending her time, her effort. She's going to bring wisdom and knowledge. And I promise you, this is not going to just be information. This is going to be transformation. I talked to Rae, her mindset, her heart, her willingness to serve, just a beautiful spirit in and out. And so what I want you to do is do me a favor and be attentive, be focused, be locked in with us. And Rae's going to share some iconic information, and we promise to make sure this next 25 minutes or so is super valuable for you. So if you got it in the chat, say you got it. Ladies and gentlemen, help me bring on this absolute icon, special guest, Rae Irelan in the building. Icon, can you?
Hello. So good to be here.
What's going on, Podcast Queen? How do we do? Is that okay? Are you still awake? Are you with us?
So good. Let's go. Hey, everyone.
Fired up. All right. So, Rae, we thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. Super excited for you to be one of the virtual speakers on our 2-day event. We'll talk about that later. But we want to get right into it. We want to be authentic. We want to be transformative. We want to be real. So the first question we always ask on the Darren Walker podcast here is, who is Rae Irelan?
Yeah, let's go. All right. Happy to be here and sharing time with you. Rae Irelan. So I am co-founder and CEO of Evolve Podcasting. But more importantly than that, I am a mom, a wife. I'm a mom of a 2.5-year-old little boy. He's the sweetest. A wife to my husband, Sammy, who we do business together, life together, music, creation, travel together, daughter, sister, friend, mentor, speaker, author. There's a lot of different hats and titles, singer, musician, um, you know, child of God. Let's go.
Amen. I'm with it. Okay, so I love all that. We know that you are balling, doing your thing, but talk to me. Talk to me a little bit about where Rae Irelan comes from, the upbringing, and what was the beginning of what molded you into who you are today. Where are you? What's the roots of where Rae Irelan is from?
Totally. The roots of who I am as an artist. So grew up in a home. I have my mom's painting back here. I think one right here too, if you can see them.
Yeah.
So my mom is a painter. My dad is an architect, just grew up in a very creative home that they always just said, go for your dreams. Which is like, wow, thank you, God. What a blessing, you know?
Yes.
And for me, what that looked like was dance and theater and music and the performing arts. And so I sought that out. I followed that journey. I even left school early to basically do homeschooling and study dance. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, had an amazing time and ended up going to a conservatory out in Boston at the age of 17, doing the dance thing, doing the East Coast dance dream.
Wow.
And um, and really got to, you know, understand discipline and habits, like the time calculator. I was like, oh, I love that, you know, and just get real about like setting a goal and seeing it through. And at the end of my time at a 4-year program in Boston, at that point, I was dancing professionally in New York, going there every weekend, like training hard, dancing 8 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. And that was for many years. I did that at least 6 years. And at the end of that, I was getting ready for like, you know, Broadway and all of the biggest dreams I could ever imagine.
Like kind of like the Black Swan kind of deal, like
Oh,
that.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like
Ballet.
like it was that level, like
Legit.
competitive, like going at it.
Yep. So if
Wow.
anyone knows Boston Conservatory, holler over there. But yeah, but at the end of that, I ended up having in 1 month 2 fractured shins and a torn ligament in my spine, so I couldn't walk. I could barely turn my head side to side, and it was just this crash down moment that, you know, it was kind of that first crash down moment where everything, my whole life, I'd been dancing since I was 2. Everyone said you could do it, and I was doing it. Boom, like taken down at age 21. I was still a
Wow.
and so that
That's
really
crazy.
shifted all my priorities and showed me, you know, okay, I want to be able to live life, and maybe training this hard and going down that route actually isn't going to fulfill the true success that I want to do, which is travel and family and these other things. And it was like all of a sudden that first turning point where I was like, wow, what I was doing, I got to do something new. And I don't know what that looks like,
Wow.
you know? And so all the cards turned and switched. And that's actually what got me into music. And I
Wow.
decided if I can't dance, I can't perform, do the one thing that I know I can do well, I got to figure out another instrument because my body's not working. So I picked up instruments and ended up starting to sing. And we started a band, me and some friends that I was like going to school with. And it very quickly went from, okay, I'm auditioning for Broadway and getting ready. And, you know, this is what I've been prepping for, into now I just graduated. I'm living out of a car and I'm playing banjo on the street corner. What is happening?
How old
Yeah.
are you at this time?
21.
So hold on a second, because this is getting juicy. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what? This is like a movie. I feel like what did we just hear? Okay, because I'm actually, did I tell you that I'm a pro drummer, that I play music? Did I
I
tell
think
you
I
that?
did talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
talked about that.
Yeah.
So like,
So
and I
good.
got, you know, like, okay, so, but hold on, I want to do this real quick because the value in here is immense. So we're gonna pick the meat here for seconds, because
Mhm.
I want to sit in a second in. It sounds like to me you had a dream, you had a vision, and abruptly it was completely taken from you? Can we sit in the moment? I want to literally sit in the sadness if it was there, the heartbreak is in there if it was there, the turnovers there. Like did you weep? Did you cry? Like, what's this like? You're all of a sudden going for this, have this routine, all these things, and then it's gone. And hold on a second. The reason why I'm asking that, for the people that are on here that are in the process right now, building a business, mustering up the courage to do it, especially here in this fourth quarter, and things aren't going the way they'd like them to, or maybe that's not it. Maybe they're in their life right now and there's been a transition point. We want people to relate, to let them know, like, this is actually a part of the process. So can you unpack the really the heartbreak as far as that dream being shattered, and then we'll talk about, the blessing after that. Can you tap into that for a moment?
100%. Yeah. To paint the picture, I was dancing professionally at that point, like I said, and it turned so quickly that all of a sudden I went from, renting the studio to prep for the next audition where, I was like, I'm getting really close to landing something here, into all of a sudden I have this beautiful, dance studios, like the nicest dance studios on the East Coast, and like brand new, renovated, and I'm renting them out to sit there plucking a banjo, one little string at a time. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just plucking and crying. And I'm like, well, singing makes me feel a little bit better, because, and I think it, we can kind of bring faith into it. I think when we're in that communion with God and we're kind of getting out of our logical mind, I just needed that moment to express and to kind of like sit in the lament of what was happening.
You were still moving forward, just not the way you thought.
Totally. Yep. Doing something totally different and totally trusting God in that process, because like you said, it is such a process. So yeah, but it's like, yeah, okay, well, what's next? So for me, it's like, okay, the next thing is, this looks totally different. I'm literally living out of a car now, and I'm learning banjo. I'm learning how to sing, and we start traveling around the US. And it was like this beginning of like a new dream getting created. So if you're listening, you might have had that happen, or you might be in it, of like, something is happening and I know God is like redirecting this for a way better reason, but I have no idea what that looks like. So that's what was happening, and that led to us actually traveling around the whole US for about a year, going street corner to street corner, playing music. And that's where I got to learn music. And I got to see, what would actually get someone that's walking down the street, what would get them to stop and spend some time with me. And this is really key, especially in this age where, everything's online, and what everyone is fighting for is attention, right?
Yeah.
It is grabbing attention so that you can spend some time to get to know one another, and then, go on a journey from there. So yeah, I kind of learned that right on the streets, before the online world. And from there, we ended up growing a band and developing a band. And we spent so after that year, we had a band. We spent 5 years on the road touring as a band and growing it from street corner to coffee shop to bars to music venues to festivals to amphitheaters. And we got to do the whole thing, and see the entire country and go to other countries to travel and perform.
Wow.
And yeah, that was that part of the journey. And there was
Do you have a name of the band? Is it like a group that grew to a certain level?
We grew to a certain level. It was called the Moves Collective. You can't find anything online because we went through kind of a nasty band divorce.
Gotcha.
So there's not really much online, but I have a few videos that I still have on my
I feel like I need you to send me something. This is like, this is a movie like that. What you're talking? I don't know if it's just in my head, but it sounds super interesting.
Totally. Yeah. I got the few videos that I have. They're on my YouTube. And so in the middle of this tour, in this 5-year, and in the thick of it, we were performing about 20 shows a month, all in different cities. So it was full on. And at that point, I was full on living this rock and roll lifestyle. I'm like, okay, this looks totally different than the performer I grew up being, which is like this ballerina, but I'm still performing and I'm still sharing and connecting with people from the stage. And I just love the performing arts. This is amazing, right? But I got so deeply enthralled with the rock and roll lifestyle that it led me into a really unsettled life. And, relationships were all a mess. Everything, health was a mess. Spiritual life was a mess.
Yeah.
And fast forward, I end up having a moment after a gig back home. It was a big hometown gig, sold out, all the things. And I'm driving home and I decide I'm done. And so I end up driving my car off of a cliff going home. And
accident. By accident?
No.
Wow.
Mm-mm. Yeah, not by accident. And so there was a lot to unpack there. And
when you just said that, I'm sorry. I just like when you, because in my mind, when you just said that, I wasn't ready for that. So one step back. So you make a decision, things are rough, you're unsettled.
Yep.
And on the way home, you decide that it's over.
Exactly.
Wow.
And yeah, it was truly, I had already had this like whole life switch of dancer to musician, but I didn't have an identity and I didn't know where I stood. And I was really quite lost, right? And trying to build this thing, work and work and work. We're doing 20 shows a month, a new city, every single show, so the car goes off the cliff and I left my body. And immediately, this was the first encounter I had with God, where he came in and he asked me point blank, do you want to stay or do you want to leave? And I said, get me out of here. I'm living in my own hell. Like I want out. This is not pretty. And he so graciously flashed forward into my view, almost like I was on a train, like seeing little like images, and flash forwarded my future husband, family, like kids, business, impact, and more singing, performing, and speaking. And I was like, what? And I'm like, wait a sec. Okay, I gotta stay. I want to see this part of the movie. and instantly, instead of like, I was in that white light that people talk about in near-death experiences, instantly, once I made that decision, God dropped me back into my body in the rolling car. And I'm so excited. I'm like, I just like hung out with God, our creator. He gave me this opportunity. I'm back. This is amazing. But like, whoa, this is kind of weird. Like the car is like where
Still
am I?
Yeah.
Totally. Wow. Car lands at the bottom of the cliff. And I honestly, at that point, thought I was totally dreaming. Cause I'm like, okay. So I just get out of the car.
Get out of here.
I don't even think twice. I step out and I started slapping myself. I'm like, all right, time to wake up from this like really bad dream. Because prior to this moment, my entire life, I had a dream of a rolling car accident. And every time in my dream, I would crash and I would wake up. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing. Like I didn't crash yet. Like I got to wake up. So, and isn't it amazing? Like the seeds that God plants throughout our whole lives for moments like this. And we never know when they're going to come too. And so I get out of the car. I'm trying to wake myself up. I'm like, this is so weird. This dream is going way longer than every dream I've ever had. And so I look up the canyon. I'm like, well, thanks, Dad, for giving me some rock climbing skills. All right, let's go.
You climbed up the canyon.
I climb up the canyon and I get up there.
Who are you? Are you the Tomb Raider lady? like what?
At that moment, I was. I get up there and there's a guy laying on the ground. And I'm like, what is happening? And he's laying on the ground crying, like sobbing. And I go over to him. I say, are you okay? Like what happened? And he stands up and he looks at me. He said, I just saw you go off the cliff and now you're here. And he just brought me in and held me.
You didn't know him?
Tight. I did not know who this man was. He held me so tight. And he was just like praying over me. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing, but we're just having this moment. And so we leave the embrace, and I pull out my phone. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm like, this is weird. Like, okay, this is definitely real life. So I'm like, now calling emergency calls, I'm like, who can come pick me up? Before I know it, there's lights in my face of ambulance, fire truck, police cars, all of this, all this stuff. And I turn around, the guy's gone. Okay, that's weird. So I'm like, all right, move on. Fast forward, like I said, I was not in a good place in my life then. So there were things that I had in my pockets. There was, things that I ended up getting caught with. So later that night, I ended up in jail. So big turning moment for me, where I'm sitting in the back of that cop car thinking, praise God that I'm here. Like, I was so excited. And reality check, I have things to clean up in my life, and I got to get this right, because God just showed me this vision of family, impact, business, like love. That is who I am. That is my identity, not this girl that's in the back of a cop car getting taken to jail right now.
Right.
Are you okay? Oh, let me just take a moment.
Hey, I've been doing podcasts for like over 5 whatever years. Hold on. You leave the show and decide life is going to be different, which means you literally drive off a canyon. Think you're dreaming, tumble, meet God, leave your body, come back, get to the bottom, walk out of the car, climb up the canyon. Someone's weeping because they saw the whole thing. Cops come and you get arrested in the same night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We talked for like 45 minutes in our other call, and you didn't say one thing about this. Is y'all, you're watching this live with Rae Irelan. Like,
we were talking, there's business, and then there's,
I'm glad we're doing this, because this right here is this is okay. Because now everyone on here is like, wait, what happened? All right, you're in the cop car.
All right.
You realize that it's come to Jesus again moment. And now what?
So now what is me checking my body? I'm getting scans. They're checking everything. Not one scratch or bruise. Praise God. Praise God. And no one understands it at all. And all I keep telling them is, I just met God. I'm totally fine. Like, stop asking me questions. I know I'm in jail, but I'm going to be fine. I was like, I'm going to sit here and pray, even if I get stuck in here. Like, I'm totally fine. Thank the Lord. And I'm in there, and I will not kid you. And so I don't know, I might have told you this or not, but I do have a book, and it starts right here in jail. So what happened in jail?
All the crash and all this, it doesn't start there. Goodness. Okay.
No, we we had to start right in the good part, because in jail that night, I'm sitting next to a woman who ends up having the name, and it's all God, having the name of a woman who I had just written a song for. That name, it's not like Jessica or Sarah, it's Norma. So I wrote a song about Norma Lee. And this was like a random little bluegrass tune, like super random. I end up sitting next to a Norma in jail, and she ends up being like the baddest, fiercest woman in there. She's for sure been in there like at least 10 times, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting next to her. And to remind you, this is 23-year-old me. So actually a decade ago. And I'm sitting next to her, and I befriend her, because I'm like, if I'm going to be in here, I better be friends with this woman. Like, she's
going to have my back.
She's the ringleader. Yeah. And I find out her name is Norma. And so I tell her, I just wrote a song with your name last week. Do you want to hear it? And so I ended up singing in jail and getting all the women in there, because we're in like a women, all the women start singing, to the point where we get shut down by the security, because everyone was singing. But it was so cool, because it was the moment where I felt, again, spirit just confirming, like, I am here with you, and whatever environment you're in, you better share your story. You better use your voice. Amen. Because we're meant to be united. There was tons of fighting and bickering. I mean, imagine like 4 a.m. in a jail cell, right? just women. It's not pretty.
Right.
All of a sudden we're all singing, right? So that's where my book starts. And but what I want to share about that is, that was such a huge turning point for me, where I really looked at, okay, here's the past life and here's the forward life. And the coolest thing that I want to share, because this is a community of faith. I was not connected or like unified walking with Jesus at this point at all. Even though I had grown up in a Christian house, I was totally very far away from it. I have this moment and I connect with God. And that God moment was my anchor through all sorts of new age and everything else that was so far from Jesus and the truth for about 8 years after this accident. It was just a few years ago where I got to reconnect with Jesus with the birth of my son. Amen. And so I have to share this because this just happened about 5 months ago. I was telling the story to someone new, and they look at me and they say, "Who is that man?" And all of a sudden I start crying, and I realize that was Jesus that came and was there right in the middle of it, giving me a hug. And it took me 8 years to realize it, but now I know he had been there all along, because who else would that have been? So
I mean, well, that's awesome. like I'm just trying to, the whole story, like I'm like, who's Rae Irelan? He's like, oh, plot twist right here at the corner of Cliff and meeting Jesus. Okay, so how has this story and impact helped you now turn the corner to build a business, be a mom, a woman of faith? Because we want to relate, even though maybe some people, relate closer. I know there's people on here that have had sickness, have lost people, building business, all different people, different backgrounds. Because we teach people how to turn their story into income by impacting people through their gifting, right? And so, but now you're a podcaster, you're a mom, you're still an artist. We're gonna wrap up here soon, but let's do it. Let's do it well. How did the story that you've been told just now help you become an entrepreneur in the way to overcome some of the obstacles that are or have been holding people back, and do it authentically?
Absolutely. So here's the point, is that when I went through that, when I was in that car going to jail, but I just had this amazing, encounter. I remember hearing and saying to myself, there is no way God has taken me through this story for just me to get myself through it, because this is crazy.
It sounds a little bit crazy now, Rae. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a wild story. I love it.
It's a wild story. I'm like, and I'm sitting in it. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't grow up in this crazy way. Like, I just kind of had a normal life. Like, where did this all happen? And I just heard God say, no, you're going to be sharing your story because you're going to get yourself through this. Like, that's a piece of cake. That's fine. We're going to connect you with the people you need, and, the experiences, the opportunities, the resources, just as God does, right in time, not early, not late, right in time. And you're going to get through this, and it's going to be fine. And you better share this, because this is actually for other people. This is not for you. Right. And so here's what I always say when I'm sharing this story and when I'm talking to people about them being iconic, is that I want to preface, like, I am an extreme person, and you're probably getting to know that about me, but like, I like skydiving and traveling the world, and like, not having a home. Like right now we're just fully traveling. Like, I do like the extreme things. I like going fast, and that's just my personality. Yeah. Your story might be like not even anywhere near mine. It might be totally opposite, and yet I talk and people relate to me. And when you talk, if your story is about tripping over a glass of milk and that changed your life, and if you say it with the emphasis that it actually changed your life, it's going to talk to the people that you need to reach. And so just know that whatever story you've been through, whatever hardships, whatever, things that God has walked you through it's not just for you to become a better version of you, right? Or to become more godlike. It is truly for you to inspire and help and share other people. And that might mean just in your family, it might mean in your community, it might mean in your state, in your country, or the world, right? And there's an opportunity. And what I love that DERRON does is he's working in the online space, which is where you can actually reach people all around the world, because we need each other's stories and people need your story, because there's going to be people on here that don't relate to mine because it's too crazy. And they're like, I don't get that, girl's crazy. I get it. It's fine. But your story, it's going to hit some people and people need to hear it. And the thing that I would say to myself, if I was, looking at myself dead in the eyes, I would say, don't you ever talk bad about yourself. First of all, don't you ever lower your identity and misplace your identity. Keep it with God and as a child of God. Don't you ever say anything else about yourself, and find someone to hold you accountable. Whether that's me, whether that's DERRON, whether that's any mentor, get yourself into the right environment, because just like soup, you can have a carrot and a carrot's just going to stay a carrot. But if you put it into a soup with turmeric and cinnamon and all this stuff, it turns into like this amazing thing that so many people get to enjoy.
Now I'm
so
hungry. Goodness.
Put yourself in the right environment with the right chef or guide, supporters to keep you accountable to not just going to where you want to go. And this is actually something that came through for me today. So this is very now, don't just use your resources and the people that God gives you to go where you want to go. You need to also remember where you've come from.
Yeah.
Because that is the bridge.
For sure.
That is the bridge of seeing the full transformation that you're going to have, and just blessing, thanking God for it and blessing others with it.
No, that's value right there. I love it. One of the models that we use is willpower will never outdo community. We're very community driven and sticking around. And that's why we're doing the event October 6th and 7th. It's not just alone about coming to learn. It's about coming to learn in an environment with like-minded people that are driven and want to win. It is really worth its weight in gold. Rae, we thank you so much for your story, your testimony. This is not it. You're going to be on the event with us, not on the physical event, but on the virtual side of it at the end. Where can people reach you, Rae, to be able to hear a little bit more about you and just connect and say hi?
Yeah, come find me on Instagram, Rae Irelan. That's the best spot.
All right, cool. So find her there. Rae, honestly, your story, it did surprise me in a really, really great way. And I can tell that I knew when you were traveling the world, I'm like, yeah, first child, husband, that's great. But it's also your personality. I can tell that you're driven. You would be a party, a hoot. We got to hang out physically one day, because that would be a lot of fun. Matter of fact, you want to party, I'll bring my 4 kids, Kingston, Faith, Zealand, Praise, 7, 5, 3, and 1. They'll give you a run, I promise.
Let's go. That's what we love.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. But really quick before we leave, we've got this event coming up October 6th and 7th. Can you, from your heart, share why do you believe people should come learn from us, and what this event will do for people that really show up and ready to learn?
Totally. Well, I mean, it's really what I just said. You got to get into the right zones and the right environments, and, you're online. It's free. The best thing you can do is invest your time and your money, but this is free. So give it your all, and, your time, but also your attention. Don't let the enemy take away your attention, this time to pour into yourself and share your story. DERRON knows what he's doing here. He's bringing in amazing people as well. There's going to be so much value. So get into it and truly mark off your calendar for it so you can get the most out of it.
Absolutely. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to change the game, and you're going to get ahead of the game, because quite frankly, a lot of people aren't going to take the time in the fourth quarter to be a part of something like this. So we can't wait to see you. Listen, if you guys register tonight, whether Rae gives you her link, or you see mine in my bio on Instagram, or you get it here on Facebook or whatnot, if you DM me registered, and just DM me, I got a special gift for anybody that does that. And we'll help you start off the end of your third quarter into the fourth quarter in iconic fashion. Rae, it's been an absolute pleasure, you icon. Thank you for sharing wild story,
Yeah.
but it's only just the beginning. Everybody that's on here, let us know in the comments in the chats what your biggest takeaway was, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm actually going to be back here, I believe, next Tuesday for another Be Iconic Conversations. Look out for that one. We're continuing to feed you value here every single week or close to it, and we're just having a lot of fun. So God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Until the next time, we'll see you next week and on the event. God bless you guys.